Good morning, beloved friends, mighty companions. It is Friday. I'm so happy to be here, and I believe our dear Reverend Johannes is going to be with us here this morning. Johannes, are you there? Are you out there at Namaste Village?
They were on video just a couple minutes ago, then they dropped out again.
Okay, well, we'll see if they show up again. Who knows what's going on there? All I know is what's going on right here. And right here, there is a lot of love, and I can feel the frequency of that love. And I think that's what we're going to talk about here today. Of course, this morning I woke up, just a few minutes ago because it's very early on the West Coast, and just feeling that frequency and saying, yes. And what am I going to add to that? How can I increase that frequency? And it's that yes and that is the key to the way that we are living our lives. In fact, Vicky a moment ago mentioned this fun masterclass on creativity that I'm doing with my dear friend Barnett Bain. Barnett, if you don't know him, is an amazing author and filmmaker. He's the producer of films like What Dreams May Come and The Celestine Prophecy. He directed that, I believe, and an amazing, amazing bright light. And we did this class together, and we realized that it was like an improv team. And whenever you're doing improv, the whole point is to build upon what the other person said, what the other person shared. It's always the experience of yes and. And when we work within the yes and then this and then more, and then it just increases, the frequency gets brighter and the light gets brighter, and we're able to move deeper and higher into the frequency of this love. And it's the frequency that does the teaching. As Vicky was just saying a moment ago, her friend Bill Hicks, whenever they'd be in the room, she didn't have to worry about anything. She didn't have to worry about what she was going to say or what she was going to do, because she knew that there was Bill right there next to her, holding the frequency without saying a word. And this is the real teacher, isn't it? The frequency itself. You could have someone who talks and talks and shares all sorts of interesting stories and teachings, but if the frequency isn't lifting, you know it, you can feel it. And the reverse is true as well. Someone may sit and not say a word. Look at Amma, the great hugging saint. She hardly says anything, but the frequency of her love lifts thousands of people in the room. And all she needs to do is give them a big hug, and all is well in the world. This is what we are called to do, and that's what these morning meetings and sessions are all about. How can we meet in that frequency? How can we say yes and to spirit, and then let it build and grow until it brings us right into that experience of the heaven that we never left? So this is what we'll talk about here today, and I'll just get the discussion going. Vicky, let's turn over to you for a moment. I would love to hear what you have to say about this experience of yes and the frequency, and like your friend Bill Hicks, just letting that build and knowing that as long as that frequency is there, not a word needs to be spoken. So good morning, Vicky.
Good morning, Brother James. So nice to have you back this morning because you really hold that pitch so beautifully. That's the first thing I would say. How much each one of us here at Namaste Village and in the Zoom Village and all around the world through the years have recognized through your books, through your movies, through whatever phone calls and workshops you've ever done, that playful pitch, that joyful pitch, that carefree, never knew the box was even there pitch. That was one of the best ways to describe you. Brother James never lived out of the box. He never knew there was a box, right?
True.
And that's childlike, that childlike openness and spontaneity and freedom. Oh, there's Namaste. I hear
Oh,
them right there.
Where's that sound coming from?
Yeah, I think it's coming from where Reverend Johannes might be on the mic. Ready? I don't know.
Do you want to do the session here?
Can you guys mute your mic? Let me
Connect.
hold on. I'm going to mute everybody because hold on.
Oh,
Johannes is not muted. Okay, so Vicky, you're going to need to unmute yourself.
Okay, here I am
There
again.
you are. Go. Great. Okay, go ahead, Vicky.
All right. So in any case, the way we communicate, that's what we're talking about. And we're not limited to the world of time and space and but one body to another visibly or audio through audio. We are exposing ourselves to a truth as
Okay, Namaste. Would you guys please mute? Thank you.
And that's what we do here every day. And Brother James, you've been a great facilitator of that all of your life. That's what I was saying. You've lived out of the box because you didn't know there was a box. What a great example. And somehow the box never got stifled or built around you. You just pay it no mind. You just paid it no mind and went on your way and you joined a Franciscan order and did all these things and didn't worry. But they said the rules were because you lived in the of the rule of love. That's what a great way to live and what a great force to bring forth in time, whether it was through a book or through a workshop. And that's what we're doing here together. We're harnessing that example, Brother James. You're a great, I've always said, a great Pied Piper. And the is it the flute? What's the instrument the Pied Piper plays?
Yeah.
Right? That flute is the flute of freedom and love and the expansiveness of what's true in us, the love of God. That is not that comes to us, it's what we are. That's what the frequency is. That love of God. And all we've been learning to do is when we pay attention to that, the boxes we've all built around ourselves with these misbeliefs of trying to learn from the outside in are slowly, or maybe now, hopefully, quickly melting away as we live without a box around us. That's the frequency of love. It doesn't define anything. It doesn't judge or put things in labels and boxes. It receives everything. That's what we do here. We receive one another, the light in one another. And the words, whoever's speaking, anybody of us that might be speaking, they're just the temporary prop for gathering. They're the prop that's being used by the greater plan to open up the field of love as a way of living. So we're learning the language of love. The frequency of love is a language, and it is not limited by word or by physical hearing. It's not limited in any way. And those limits were the boxes we had around ourselves. And now we're resting in to the experience that's everywhere all the time because now we're paying attention to it and we're recognizing it and finally accepting it, allowing it, and welcoming it and enjoying it. So that's why this is the party team. We're here to enjoy the feast of love. We're here to help each other do that, to steady each other's hands so that when we fall out or we find the box over our head and we're all limited, oh my gosh, one of us looks at each other and remembers, don't worry, it's nothing. You don't have to figure it out, don't have to fight with it. It's nothing. Just in that nothingness that we see for one another of the limits we might feel as being boxed in by fall away. That's the gift of vision that we give everyone. So that frequency of love and vision. Thank you, Brother James. That's what's being offered and expanding and extending far beyond this Zoom room or far beyond the land of Ahihi through the sonship that communicates in energy and frequency, not just in words and sound. So thank you, Brother James.
Oh, thank you, Vicky. You are another person who never really knew there was a box and wouldn't let one form around you. And maybe that's the call for each one of us. Even if we do find a box that is sitting around us, just take it off. There's no need anymore. That's protection. That's the ego's idea of protecting itself. But now we know we need no protection because the frequency of love is the only protection that could ever come to us. And it protects us from only our own thoughts. And it's our own thoughts that put us in those boxes. The frequency of love is the only thing that we need now. And we've come to the point where it's the only thing we desire. How could we want anything more than that? You know, it reminds me also of an orchestra right at the beginning, before they begin to play whatever beautiful symphony they're going to play. What is that beautiful sound that you hear? One instrument begins to play one single note, and then all the other instruments attune to that note. So they know that they're in the same frequency. They know that they're together. They're attuned. And that's what we do every morning. Every morning we come here and I'll say something, Vicky will say something, Johannes, Calico, whoever it is, it's like playing that single note, saying, this is where we're going. This is the frequency of love right now. Yes, and we're going to build on that now. We're going to, now that we're attuned, we're going to let that symphony be played through this beautiful orchestra. But we have to begin by attuning our frequency to love itself. That's what we do, and it's so simple. We don't need long dissertations. We don't need intellectual discoveries. All we need to do is to have that single desire for the frequency of love, to live that and then to share it, and then it takes over on its own. We need do nothing. So that being said, I think Johannes is there. So Johannes, if you can turn on your mic now and go ahead and share, I would love to hear from you as well. Well, I heard her before, so I know she's out there somewhere. Okay, Johannes, if you can hear me, just go ahead and unmute it.
Hello, good morning.
There she is.
Well, we are having some difficulties here.
We have no image for you to see, so it'll be Johannes speaking with no.
Okay, that's fine. Go ahead, Johannes.
So,
Frequency of love.
okay, so are we talking about love here? Because we were dealing with some connection things. Frequency and love. Okay, well, I actually brought a really nice poem from Rumi, and I think it's beautiful. He was in ecstasy. He had this realization of oneness, of love, realization of God. And he wrote a poem, and it says, "Oh God, I have discovered love. How marvelous, how good, how beautiful it is. My body is warm from the heat of this love. How secret, how deep, how obvious it is. I offer my salutations to the stars and the moon, to all my brothers and all my sisters. I offer my salutations to the spirit of passion that aroused and excited this universe and all it contains. I have fallen unable to rise. What kind of trap is this? What chains I have tied my hands and feet? It is so strange and so wonderful, this loving helplessness of mine. Be silent. Do not reveal the secret of my precious love. An experience of love. And I was, wow, this is beautiful. And I kept like looking for Rumi things, and I found something else about love. He says, love masters all things. I am mastered totally by love. My God is love. My prophet is love. My religion is love. I am a child of love. I have come to speak of nothing but love. I have come to speak of nothing but love. And it reminds me, last night there were some friends visiting us. As some of you know, Jack went into surgery. Thanks for your prayer, all of you. So we had the priest of the Anglican Church here at St. Andrew Church, Rabin, and her husband. They wanted to pay a visit to see how Jack was doing. And she says something really powerful last night. She says she went to this seminar before becoming a priest. She went to this seminar about how to become successful, and there were meditations and prayers, and it lasts like for 10 days. She says that the only thing she had in her heart, she wanted to love. The only thing she asked during these days, it was a seminar about visioning and about goals and all these things we do. And she says the only prayer in her heart was, teach me to love. I want to be loving. That's what I want to experience. 10 days just connecting from her heart and asking to be taught to be loving. After that seminar, her whole life changed. She became very successful financially, professionally, in relationship. She says it was like her whole life turned completely around. So truly the key is love. When you come from your heart and you are really sincere and you really want to connect with that presence that we call God, and life is responds by showing you. She says, I became so loving with everybody, and at the same time people were responding to me with so much love, and that has been her guidance since then. That was like 10 years ago, she told us last night. So that's all I have to share.
That's all you needed to share. That's all any of us needed. What else could there possibly be? The experience that lifts us above the so-called experience of separation, love itself. As St. Francis said, why is love not loved? Because he knew the vibrancy and the power of that love within himself. And whenever anyone feels that light, that love, the heat of that love, all they can do is look around and see only that, express only that. The words mean nothing but the heat that comes from us when we seek but to love. You know, it's amazing that Johannes and I didn't talk at all. Vicky and I didn't talk at all before the session, but we all came together in that frequency. Isn't that the most beautiful thing about our joinings here in the morning? So we don't have to talk high spiritual concepts because the love itself is enough for us. We realize that none of those things mean anything unless they are held up by love. There's no high idea that will ever touch us and change us and transform us unless it's held up and supported by this love. And what is love? Love is what we're feeling right now, the passion to express only reality. The power and the vibrancy of this loving reality that we know to be our foundation, to realize that God is love and therefore so am I. I am that love. There's nothing else but that love. I don't need to prepare to talk about love. I don't need to sit down and write out a sermon or a homily to express love. All I need to do is to open up my heart and let that love flow. And you will feel it and you will know it. Imagine someone who sits down and writes a sermon or a talk on the attributes of love from an intellectual perspective. You'll feel that, won't you? Actually, you won't feel it. You won't feel anything. You'll feel the difference, certainly, from one who, like Vicky or Johannes, who gets up and just speaks from that love. And all we can do is read a Rumi poem, or all we can do is sing a song, because the words themselves just won't do it anymore. Let's just live from that place. We don't have to explain. We don't have to try and figure anything out, because love has already figured us out. Vicky was talking before about not living in a box. The box is just that which keeps us from flowing with that love. That love can take us in any direction and all directions at once. But we're told from the very beginning, no, you have to limit it. You have to live within this experience. You need to contain it somehow. We've come to the point now where we say, don't contain the love that you are. Let it flow freely in any direction it wants to. It may be going this direction one instant and another direction the next moment. Go with it. Don't limit it. I do have to say that I feel so fortunate that my whole life, that has been the most natural thing, just flowing with it. And it's also like being a child. People who know me will tell me I am like a child. I go one direction, then I'll flip it around. Yeah, look at Baraka. He's like, yeah, you sure? You ain't kidding. But this is the way to live. Just don't define it, don't direct it. Just let love direct your course. Let love take you where it would have you go. Say what it would have you say. And everything else will align, I promise you. That's all we need is love. Vicky, I'd love to turn it back to you to see if you have any final words.
All right, Brother James, here we go. I had a really beautiful, simple experience of how love communicates. Last night I was sitting, and I've been doing, some of you know, the workbook lessons every hour for the 5 minutes. I'm having so much fun with it. Anyway, so I was sitting there doing the lesson, and I looked, and out the window are party lights around a swimming pool. And every night, Teddy and I would say, Teddy, closing ceremonies, 10 o'clock, the lights go out. So we would go for the closing ceremonies every night. I'd say, Teddy, come on, it's closing ceremonies. And we'd go out to the deck and we'd bless the world with the closing ceremonies. Like this was the most important thing we could do. But last night I'm doing the meditation. I'm just hanging out in the love of God and all. And I look and I see the lights. Oh my gosh, I get this swish of, oh God, Teddy, I really missed you. I really miss you. And I'm sitting there sighing, and I'm sitting there crying and saying, well, I just got to cry. Just got to let the tears flow. I know you're there, but it's, it was a lot of fun to be able to walk out the balcony with you. And so I'm sitting there and I'm crying and I'm laughing at myself and saying, I know you're here and it's okay. And at that moment, really at that moment, the lights still haven't gone out yet. It's like a minute of 10. My friend, dear friend, and Teddy's friend, Katya, calls me. Katya was the last person that spoke to Teddy other than me the night before he passed, and gave him the chance to share, because she had a question about the course. And that was his greatest love. He would just go, he would love to do that. And she gave him that chance. It was the last conversation, literally, that he had other than us. And she called me, and in that split second, I had to, oh my gosh, look at that timing. Teddy had Katya call me. I know that. I knew it, because I'm so dense that I couldn't hear it so much as directly. But when she called me, it like the box of my mind just fell away. And then I was just saying, thank you, thank you, thank you. Because that's what love says, doesn't it? Love just says, God, thank you. Teddy, thank you. Thank you for every day. Thank you for Jesus. I trust in you. Father, thy will be done. Thank you. But that's an experience. We can open to it all. And it's so great that we don't live with the box of death. God knows the box of death, believing in death, was part of one of the cornerstones of time and space. And to finally be moving out of it and to enjoy the communion that was always been available, but now we're integrating into it. And sometimes we don't get to integrate into it until we have those experiences where a beloved person in our life is no longer physically present. And we can either be grief stricken, and that's all right too if we accept it. Let it accept everything. Don't I can't change one thing in me. Forget about anybody else. But I can allow everything, accept everything, and let it be on that inner altar and watch how it transforms. And last night, how it transformed into immediate joy and laughter. Oh my gosh, thank you, however you did that for orchestrating. That was really perfect.
Mm.
And that's the way everything is. Love is always communicating to us. There are no boxes that are these little tight restrictions of in a body, out of a body. Communion is eternal. Let's just relax and enjoy it and be open to it. And when we can't feel it, be open to that and allow that and accept it and let those tears flow too and bring them right here to the altar where love is, where it opens like a big megaphone that just wants to broadcast the freedom and the care, the perfect care that we're all in.
Mm.
Anyway, that
Oh,
was my
thank you, Vicky.
thank you.
Wow. This is the experience of yes and. Let your heart be cracked open, even in a moment like you were just describing, Vicky, to just be with that, to be present with your heart being cracked open, and to know that this is how the love is flowing in this moment. We have a tendency to think this is a bad thing for our heart to be cracked open. No, there's no such thing as a bad thing if you're in the frequency of love, because everything brings it deeper and lends itself to more. Let yourself be cracked open. Let that frequency of love take it itself, take it wherever you need to go. There is no box that contain this love. And if we could just remember that and let it build higher and bolder and bigger and brighter, everything else will take care of itself. So that's our lesson. Now we have to go out and live it. Now we have to go out and be that love that we are and forever will be. So thank you, Vicky. Thank you, Johannes. I am going to be returning to Mexico tomorrow. So I'm looking forward to seeing all my beloved family there at Namaste Village. I'll be back in the chair on Monday. Of course, we have our wonderful service on Sunday, the Unity service there at Namaste. We can't wait to have you there for that. In the meantime, if you find a box covering you, just take it out, just lift it off, just let your love shine, and everything else will happen on its own. So we love you. Let's go ahead and we'll close with our final prayer here. And we'll just let this prayer of protection guide us right into our day. Here we go. The light of God surrounds us. I am the light of God. The love of God enfolds us. I am the love of God. The power of God protects us. I am the power of God. The presence of God watches over us. I am the presence of God. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well.
Amen.
Amen,
Amen.
amen,
Amen.
amen, y punto.
Punto. Y punto.
Thank you,
Thank you.
everyone. I'm sorry we couldn't
beautiful.
see you,
Happy
Jonathan.
Friday.
Thank you for your love.
Thank you. Love you all.
Bye.
Namaste, many blessings.
Bye
Bye.
Have
for
a
now.
wonderful
Bye
weekend.
now.
Bye.